That's the old model of reality, of literally living our whole life in lack and waiting for someone outside of us to change how we feel inside of us. But what if it never changes? The person's living in separation and lack their whole life, and they're trying and forcing outcomes. But tell me, if you're feeling worthy, and you're feeling abundant, and you're feeling empowered, it means then your body is believing it's already happened. And you wouldn't want to rush or force an outcome. You'd feel like it was already done. So then, the more we teach our body emotionally what that future feels like, we're no longer waiting for something outside of us to change how we feel inside of us. We already feel like it's happened.
They have to also then ignore sometimes, and many times, what's happening around them today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, many times I've told someone, you need to have your vision and then see that happening and believe it's going to happen. Sometimes it takes linear time for that to occur,
Sure.
But live it as it's happened now.
If you're saying the market is making me angry, if you're saying that the fluctuation in growth economically is causing me to feel anxiety and fear, then you're saying that something outside of you is controlling how you feel inside of you. And another way to say that is that you're a victim.
Get people to know themselves. There's a blind spot in all of us,
Right.
and it's usually, and it's not serving us in the very best way. So if we can see those blind spots and those things that aren't served and wake up and make peace with that, that's where the real change can take place.
Mm-hmm. People think that they're making a lot of decisions with their conscious mind. They're not. They're making a lot of decisions with their body mind. The body's actually running the show. The servant has become the master. So when the person starts to settle their body down, they're telling it it's no longer the mind. And every time they do that, the act of beginning to move back into the present moment causes the body to begin to trust a little bit more. And the research shows that if you do this enough times, sooner or later the body realizes it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind. And when that occurs, there's a liberation of energy in the body, and that's fear turning into courage. We're always going to be challenged by our environment, and to change really is to be greater than our environment. The person who holds the eye in the middle of the storm and it can sit in it and sees an opening, that's a leader, and that produces a change in trend. And the change in trend then says that, wow, we capitalized off of something that looked potentially volatile, and we just saw something that nobody else saw. To me, that's brilliance.
I've always said is when you react to your environment controls you. When you respond to your environment, you've hit that pause button. Now you control the environment. And I mean, our whole career has been built on going against the herd.
Yeah.
We have a philosophy, we've always stuck to it. And we embrace volatility, actually, because we know how to use that.
Is absolutely right. You may not be able to control everything in your outer world, but certainly you can control your mind in your inner world. So then, if you're in reaction, you're not going to see possibility, period. There's no way you can see possibility because 80% of the blood flow in survival moves out of the forebrain and into the hindbrain. So you're going to be more animal-like, you're going to be more reactive, you're going to be more primitive. So then moving from that state of survival into a state of creation is what great people understood. When you can control your emotional reactions, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you feel, in spite of the chaos that's going on around you, you're beginning to master your environment. So then regulating your internal states emotionally and being able to settle your body back down while the survival system is switching on is true greatness. If you keep repeating that process and changing the chemistry, it's going to get easier for you to feel that way. Now you're planting a whole new garden. And what people have to know is it's not about your wealth. It's not about your success. It's who you become in the process. And when people finally reach their financial freedom, they feel so in love with themselves, they're going to give some of it away.
There was success in the journey.
And then you start thinking about how I'm going to make a difference in the world. When you're willing to be a creator, now you're stepping way outside of the conventional model, which means then when you start seeing shifts taking place in your life, you start seeing doors opening, You start seeing phone calls where people call you and apologize for whatever, and something heals, and you all of a sudden get a connection, or something amazing starts to happen. And I can tell story after story after story of people who had to get out of that rut, that routine. And once they got out of that known and got out and they started generating worthiness every day. When I tell you calls out of nowhere, job opportunities out of nowhere, promotions, and they never stopped. And just by trading unworthiness for worthiness. And when you change your energy, you change your life. That when people live a life where they believe in their future more than they believe in their past, when they're more in love with their future than they are with their past, when they're remembering their future more than they're remembering their past, and they're keeping it alive in their mind, that's who we are. That's who we innately are. But we just have to get beyond the conditioning, the genetic programs. We got to get beyond those self-limiting beliefs. And when we do, that becomes our supernatural nature.